Welcome back. Welcome back to the second edition of Nutty North. How's everybody feeling?
Feeling good, man. Feeling great.
I'm good, man. I can't complain.
Okay. All right. Well, we're back, presented by Mojo Sports Gear. I'm Rondell Sutherland. I forgot to introduce y'all in with T Nesbitt and Maurice Edwards.
What's up?
And we're gonna start off back where we left off with the schedule. So we're gonna talk about the Bengals right now. Y'all got the Bengals schedule?
Yeah, I got it up here. Early observation. Good game against the Chargers to start it off. Their quarterback situation is not settled, and neither is the Bengals. So I think that's a good thing, just because you don't know what you're getting necessarily after that first game, January, especially with the COVID thing. It's going to be less training available to be able to be had. So both teams finished the season bad. Both teams were picking in the top 10 last year. The Bengals at number one, actually. And I can't recall. I think the Chargers were fifth or sixth. I think they were sixth. So they're just outside of the top five. They're a terrible team, no matter what way you slice it. Both of the teams have some pieces to it, but I just think that if you want to start a team off with a rookie, the best thing you should be able to do is go against another rookie to kind of quell some of those concerns and get your defense underway. So I think that's a good game to start. I see the Eagles, on their non-conference. Also see the Giants, Cowboys, so they playing against the NFC East. That's going to be tough for the Bengals just because they're a team that I feel like would have fit in the NFC East by how their season ended. Like the NFC East was, to use one of my fellow scoring their personalities, Logan's word, a dumpster fire. Um, I think the Bengals would have fit well in that dumpster fire of the NFC East. So just to be able to get to play against those teams and kind of measure themselves up against other mediocre talents. And it sounds like I'm taking a lot of shots at the Bengals, but I mean, you're picking one for a valid reason. So I just think that looking at their schedule, it plays favorably. I know we talked last week about the expectations, seeing that we need to see progress from Zach Taylor. And I think with this schedule that they have right now, they should be able to get a cool 5 wins just based off of not a lot of stability out there.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, I have to agree with T on that. I see the Bengals as like a 5-win team, 6-win team, somewhere around there, based off the schedule and the talent they bring back. There will be some growing bumps with Joe Burrow his first year out there. Let's see what Zach Taylor's going to do. I guess he's starting to put his stamp on the franchise to see how they go from there. But I feel even if they make a 5-6 win season, that's a step forward. It's not the best, but they're in a tough division. They faced the Ravens twice, the Steelers twice, and the Browns twice. All them teams have gotten better, so that's going to be tough games right there. And they have a pretty tough schedule, like you said. They play the NFC East. I think that conference is a little division, not conference. Sorry about that. It's a little better. I think they just got good teams that could beat up on each other, like the Eagles and the Cowboys.
Right.
Them are really the top two teams out there. Wouldn't be shocked if the team like the Giants make a step forward and be a tough team as well to face. But yeah, I could see like a 5-11, 6-10 season for the Bengals this year.
You think under Daniel Jones that the Giants can be a threat?
I ain't gonna say a threat, but I think they could take a step forward.
Okay.
He showed last year I'm somebody who wasn't big on him, and like he mentioned Logan. Logan even tell you this. I wasn't big on him, but he showed you he can play a little bit. He made some steps forward. They got the offensive line a little better. He'll get a healthy Saquon back, which is going to take a lot of pressure off of him. But I'm not saying they're going to compete for a Super Bowl or anything like that, but I think they can take a step forward.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I think I'm in the same boat with y'all. 5-6 wins. The Chargers, that's a toss up to me. I feel like they got the overall better team.
Yeah, I think the Chargers with that defense they got, that'll help
Right.
them be able to get their quarterback time situated. If they're gonna go with Tyrod or they're gonna go with the young rookie and Herbert who they drafted
Right.
high.
And then with Burrow being behind center and no real vet to coach them through that season, and no real off season. I don't know about the Chargers game being definitely for us, but I can see it being a toss up. Jaguars, that's probably a win for us. It like looking at the schedule, I see a lot of games that's kind of 50-50.
Yeah,
but I definitely see us coming through it with like 5. Like I know the Colts got a decent, what was it, offensive line or defensive line?
They have a great offensive line, but that team put together is a real very good team. Just me, the thing with me on the coach, I'm not a big Phillip Rivers guy.
Right.
So I think going to get him, like, is he really going to take them over the hump at the age he is? So that was my thing about them. But the coach they put together a good team.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely with us going up against the AFC South and then the NFC East, I don't know. Like we got the Redskins at what point in the season?
And that's in November.
That's in
So
November.
that's late in the year. We'll know what a lot of teams are about come.
Yeah, around that
That's
time.
around Thanksgiving as well. So we'll know what teams are about come
Yeah.
that day.
That
Jacob,
probably will be a toss up with that game too. Cause I hear they're getting better. I hear Haskins is in the off season actually trying to improve, trying to
Yeah,
be
he's been
better.
working out.
Yeah, so that's a toss up.
Yeah.
Okay, so what about the Browns?
Browns, from what I see, it starts off tough. Actually, have to go against the Ravens. So I mean, if you want to be known as a tough team, if you want to be known and taken for real, you got to step up that first game. I think actually for the Browns and Ravens, it's kind of the same thing because you get rid of last year. Last year was last year for both teams because you see the Browns didn't do well, ended up picking the top 10, big disappointment, but you have to move off of that. New season, new start, fresh start. Ravens, I mean, just ran through the NFL for a majority of the season. Slowed down come playoff time and ended up getting bounced, but you have to throw that out the way because you got to feel like you're a dominant team, you're a great team, and you need to be the start of a new dynasty. So I think I don't put a lot of stock in the one game because we all know how the seasons go. But
Right.
at the end of the day, I think that's the perfect tone setting game because we come out and we need to be on our P's and Q's. Baker needs to be sharp. The running game needs to be ready to get hit. Kareem Hunt needs to be a factor. It's just so many things for the Browns that they can look for to set the tone. Miles Garrett, we'll get to him in a minute, but he has to set the tone and be able to, you have a Miles Garrett so you can chase down a Lamar Jackson. He's not as fast as him, but he's as fast as the DN that you're going to get. So I mean, you need somebody like that to kind of contain and try to slow a Lamar Jackson up. So I think if you want to set the tone to hit him hard, because that's when you started taking the Browns falsely serious last year when they beat the Ravens. You
Right.
looked at that game, you said, okay,
Well, I mean, in that game, the best thing to do is just defeat Nick Chubb. It seems.
you have to keep Lamar off the field. I mean, absolutely, because
Nah,
he
'cause they
can
tried
beat you.
that feed Nick Chubb the second game, and you see how that went. That was just a fluke game.
Was it a fluke?
We have to
Wow.
find out, and that's the beauty of game one because you get to set the tone. I mean, it's going to be a season where you're going to see what type of team you are. I mean, you can win that first game and then lose the next three, lose the next four, but you have to at least set the tone, especially in your division. Any games that you can get fresh out the division, you have to go for that. So, I mean, I think that's either way it goes. It's a tone setter. The Redskins, I mean, they're the Redskins. You can't put nothing past any team in the NFL, but you have to feel like if you're the Browns, you also have to win the games that you're supposed to win. That's the
Right.
makings of a great team. Because if you say, let's say, for instance, that they come out and they beat the Ravens, well, it means nothing if you come out the next week and lose to the Redskins. So I think,
Well, next week I think they got the Bengals.
excuse me, you're right, correct.
Yeah, that could
But
be a
that's
trap
That,
to
game.
me,
that Thursday night is literally the Thursday night game. That's the very first Thursday night game of the season.
that still sets the tone the same way with the Redskins because the
Right.
Bengals weren't the great team.
Yeah.
So if you come out and you beat the Ravens, but you wet the bed,
But that's always going to be tough just because division and they're going to play for that who the best team in Ohio.
absolutely.
So that's always going to be a tough one no matter
Yeah, and that's always like
how
either
that goes.
high octane offense or and no defense or high defense, no offense.
And to your credit, coach, that's the same thing that happened at the end of the season. The Bengals were supposed to be done dead and water.
Yeah.
Browns supposed to get an easy, cheap win, and Joe Mixon said, "Not today. Run all over you and make you end the season with the bad taste in your mouth." So you're absolutely correct. But it's just to me early on from what the Browns schedule is, it's kind of set up for them to set the tone. I mean, you have two legitimately tough games, even though the Cowboys disappointed. I think that's going to be a whole new team. Dak's playing for a new contract. How does that affect his mind? Does he come out wanting to prove that, man, I should be getting paid? They're laughing at me because I'm turning out 35 million, but I feel like I should get 40, 45 million. So does he come out and that offense is on fire and they clicking? I mean, they got the pieces, they got the O line, they got the running game, they got the wide receivers out there. They can beat you. I think the Browns and the Cowboys are kind of in the same boat where they were expected to do great things last year
Right.
and they disappointed. So now they're looking to make an example this year. So I mean, that first four, I think you want to. If you're the Browns, you want to at least go 3-1, 2-2 at that area. You don't want to be in that 1-3 area. You don't go 4, obviously. But I mean, I think you have a good chance to be able to do some things. Looking more, see the Colts on here. That's another one of those games. It's early on in the season where you can be able to kind of attack Phillip Rivers and not necessarily know what they're going to be, especially with a new quarterback coming in with this COVID situation. That's just to me the biggest elephant in the room, especially with new quarterbacks. How are you going to be able to fit that quarterback into your system if he wasn't there last year? He's not familiar with the targets. Chemistry's a thing. So just to be able to, have them early is a good thing. Steelers the same thing. I mean, we'll get to another topic on them here in a minute, but what's the health of their team by that point? That's another division game that you can, by setting the tone early on, you can, kind of see how your season's going to go, because again, division games are important. You got the Raiders, which you can look at. They're going to obviously get better, but that should be a game you can win. The Eagles, that's a toss up. The Titans running game, that's going to be something to be watching out for. So, I mean, from the looks of it, the Browns have a lot of different looks, so to speak, that they can, kind of look forward to seeing in the season. But they have a favorable schedule on paper, but the games aren't played on paper, so we'll see.
All right.
Um, looking at the schedule, like T said, they start off tough. They got 2 division games in the first 6 games with the Ravens, starting off with the Ravens, and they'll be facing the Steelers as well. So you want to at least split 1-1 in that, because you don't want to go down 0-2 in the division, because things could go real tough from there. Oh, excuse me, they have 3. Forgot all about the Bengals. So
That's crazy.
they might want to.
That's
My
wild.
bad, Bengals fans. Mad love, but yeah, they might want to come out the gate and be ready to play.
Right.
I don't want to say the Browns could do the same thing they did last year and kind of let people down again, but I think that could possibly happen. Just with the schedule. When I say let down, I don't think they'll be like a 4 or 5 win team. I'm talking like 8, 9, and 7 type team.
Right.
Like, they have the talent and all that, but have they took the steps to grow? Has Baker took the steps as to be that quarterback? And they have a whole new coach. So, excuse me, like T said, with the whole COVID situation going on, that could be a problem too. Him learning the guys, learning how they like to be coached, learning how quick they could adapt to the system and what's comfortable for them and things like that. So that could play a whole factor there as well. But I think the Browns, I could see them around the 8-8, 9-17, maybe fighting for that 7th spot, because now it is 7 teams in the playoffs,
Right.
so they could possibly compete for that. But I think they have all the talent in the world, something we'll probably talk about later as well. But the Browns are one of the most talented teams in the NFL, so it's time for them to really take that step. Because if they don't sniff the playoffs or make the playoffs, like we talked about last show, could this possibly be Baker's last season? In NFL now, it's not for long. They don't give you too many chances. So Baker got to go ahead and take that next step now. There's no more excuses. You got all the weapons. When Odell's healthy, and I just watched his interview, he's sounding real healthy. Um, he's one of the best receivers in the game, top 5, top 4, in my opinion. When he's healthy, you got another guy in Jarvis Landry. You got 2 of the most talented running backs in the NFL, and Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. So the talent is all there. They signed Jack Coughlin to shore up the offensive line, drafted Willis. So the talent's there. So there's no more that excuse for the Browns. So that's why I'm like, if they could at least be 8-8, 9-7, and make that 7th seed, that's some faith and some hope. But they can't be a 7-9 team. Even though that 8-8, 7-9 sound is a 1 game difference,
Right.
they can't be a 7-9 team this year. Like, they have to be competing for that 7th seed.
I agree with that. You have to at some point install a winning culture. Which, I mean, going back to last year, I didn't think it would have been 6-10 year, but I was thinking more between 7-9 and 7-9, 8-8, 9-7, best case scenario, somewhere in that range, because you just have to establish winning. Like, you don't, especially in the NFL, that's not a place that you just go from being a perennial loser to a rock bottom loser all the way to a Super Bowl champion. It just doesn't happen that way, even with the talent, because there's so many more little things that come into play with that. That's why I think the schedule is a good test for the Browns, because the teams that you're seeing, especially the Ravens, to beat them, you have to do all the little things well. That's why their running game didn't just do well because they had Lamar Jackson and Mark Ingram. That running game did so well because they did the little things right. They blocked the right way. They, the right guys were in the right spots all the time for that Ravens team to be able to do the little things to help when things aren't going as great. If you can still depend on the little things to help you win, that starts with the culture, a winning culture, and you instill that by winning. And I think the Browns need to get a taste of that. So I mean, I agree with Coach with that one. I wouldn't necessarily look at them being for sure 12-4, 11-5 team, anything like that. I do think it's possible because
Possible
off
because of
Yeah,
talent,
talent.
it's definitely possible.
I think talent alone, they're rivaled by almost nobody. Just off of talent alone,
Especially on the offensive side.
you just don't find those names like that. But it's not just about those names. It's about what you do with it. I think getting rid of that head coach was a big thing because now it is on Baker. There's no other way to look at it.
You don't think it's on Stefanski?
No, not as much because we blame the coach. We've
Right.
been blaming the two things the Browns organization has been blaming forever:
Coach.
the coach and the quarterback. So if it's not the coach this time, then it has to be the quarterback.
Okay.
And this is the typical. This is what you do. You bring in a Case Keenum to push Baker Mayfield. You don't bring him to take Baker Mayfield's job, but you know that if Baker doesn't do what's right, he can get pulled, and you can throw a Case Keenum in there and say, "Well, you know what to do with these dudes." Yeah, absolutely. And then we replace him. I've spoken about this quarterback class coming up, and so has Coach. This is a nice quarterback class coming up. If you want to make a move after 3 years, bro, we know what you are.
Yeah.
Show me, because all that talking in best shape of my life and getting chemistry with all that is just talk. You need to walk it like you're talking at some point, and that's what you need to do. So if they can come out and establish what they need to establish and be looked at as a legitimate team, then they can do what they need to do. But it's a lot of ifs, and we need to see them ifs become they doing it.
I know it may not be out there. They possibly could be doing it, but the way things is now, everybody's on social media. I see every quarterback working out with Odell Beckham except Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, that's not gonna work.
Except Baker
Who has
May-
he been
Lately, he's
working
been
on?
working out with Cam Newton in LA for the past 2 weeks. He's working out with Dwayne Haskins. So,
Okay.
like, I've seen him working out, like, maybe it's not filmed, but let's just say I see Russell Wilson only work out with his receivers.
Right.
He brings them to his house. And the guy we're going to touch on later has been at his house with them
Right.
receivers. So, like, you see what I'm saying? You want to build – that goes to touch on T, what he said with the COVID. Like, even though Phillip Rivers and stuff like that, they may not be at the coach, but if they're linking up with their guys and,
Yeah,
okay, you
building
like
that
to run
chemistry.
this route this way, just like you see Tom Brady. They already – him, Gronk, Mike Evans, Goodwin, all them guys are already out there.
Right.
Okay, so when you run this, you want it like that. Like, I'm not saying Baker ain't doing it because they could be doing it and just not recorded. But the way everything is now, you gonna get something on the internet. You feel me? So like, we ain't even seen him at once throw with Odell. That's my thing, and that's the go-to guy. That's the guy who complained last year about not getting the ball enough, not getting enough targets. So like, you might want to make him happy. You feel me? Like when you got a playmaker like that, that dynamic who could change the game in the snap of a finger, you might want to make sure you make him happy and find a way to get him the ball.
Like you said, I'm sure they're going to get somewhere. They may have already done it, but I also understand that I need to see something.
Yeah,
I
you feel
don't.
me? Everything's on the internet nowadays. If somebody throwing with somebody, it's on the
Like you
internet.
gonna see it,
You're
you gonna
going
hear
to see
about
it.
it. Yeah.
You feel me? Like you're going to hear about it. Something. It's being no Odell and Baker. No heard about a link up once. No link up with Jarvis. No link up with Hooper. Even get your running backs out there. Get them out there.
Right. Like I even heard Joe Burrow. He's
Yeah, Joe
linking up
Burrow
with
did
his,
already. He's linking up with AJ Green and stuff like.
Yeah.
You feel me? You want to build chemistry. Lamar and Hollywood been together with Willie Snead and Miles Boykin. Like
Yeah.
everybody, you build chemistry. So like, I would love to see Baker do that. But like I said, he could be doing it, and we just don't know. It's just not
Right.
out there,
Right.
of course.
I feel like y'all basically cover everything. All I see is that they have a lot of back to back. A few back to back division games. They got the Ravens week 1, the Bengals week 2, and then they got the Steelers week 6, and then the Bengals again week 7. That could get kind of difficult right there, especially if they get banged up against the Steelers and then they go out.
Our division, you're going to be banged up.
Yeah.
It's going to be a real physical game.
So all in all, I mean, looking at the schedule and their talent, at best they can go 12-4, they can go 11-5, but it might be another 8-8 season. Definitely if he's not linking up with his receivers and building that chemistry.
It's a big thing, and you know, I don't know how the training camps are going to be, and that's another thing why it is important to hook up with your receivers.
Right.
But I don't want to getting too much into the COVID thing because I don't know how. I know Mike Evans has been working out with Tom Brady stuff like that, but I do know Tom Brady got in trouble for that. Well, trouble. Somebody said
Tom
something
Brady ain't
pretty
getting in
much.
no trouble.
Exactly.
Right.
But I know it was frowned upon in this establishment apparently. So I don't know if Baker's staying away from his guys just because of I don't want that on me or whatever the case may be. But I know if you're not working with him, training camp needs to be a thing.
Yeah.
Again, we don't know if we even have that much of a training camp or how we're having training camp or
Yeah.
how rushed things are going to be. We already don't have a preseason. That's the time where you
They
work on plays.
they took out the preseason.
They're going to.
I think if anything, because I seen they canceled that Hall of Fame game,
Yeah.
so I see what got you thinking that. But if anything, I could see them still letting you have that time, but maybe just giving you 2 preseason games. You feel me? Now, where that hurts is the undrafted players and
yeah.
the 6 and 7 round pick guys who usually show that they can make that team from week 1 through 4 in the preseason. I think that's the guys that hurts the most. But I think just because the way football is, what it does to your body and things like that, they're not just going to get them out there and immediately play. There's going to be some type of training camp, some type of OTA thing they have going on for something like just a different sport, just like the NBA. You see, they giving them at least 2.5, 3 weeks to train, get back in hotel. They know they're professional athletes. They have to get their bodies back right to take the beatings, do the rehab, and all that stuff. So I don't know if there'll be a preseason, but I think there will be something where it give the guys and coaches some time to be together before the games actually start.
I know I seen somewhere J.C. Treader was talking about thinking the NFL should expand the rosters just because of COVID. There's like you said, the 6 and 7 round undrafted guys, you're not going to be able to get that look because you're trying to get rid of preseason. Well, let's not cut the rosters down.
Yeah.
Well, how
Give
big
him
we
90.
talking?
He's talking 90.
90.
Because that's what it usually starts. It's usually 90 guys, and by the regular season, they cut it down to 53. If anything, I could see them going from 90 to like 75, 70.
Yeah, like I was thinking that if you're gonna expand it, maybe 80 at the max, but
I think it's. I mean, at this point, it's more of the negotiations, aspect
Right.
of it. You know how negotiations go. You ask for the highest number, and then you kind of work your way up to that 75, 80 area. And I think that's what he was more so getting to because you have COVID to worry about, so you don't know how often these players are going to be here. Are you going to put these NFL players in the bubble too? Like you can't walk around like that. At some point, you're just going to have to risk reward situation. You're gonna have to ramp up the test. You're gonna have to do something.
yeah.
So it's more so if let's say that quarterback ends up getting COVID, knock on wood, but he gets COVID. Now you have one quarterback left. Well, how you gonna bring somebody else up? You don't want to bring somebody up that's not been in your system, somebody that's been just sitting on the couch. Have that guy already on there. Have those roster spots. If something happens during training camp, during practice time, you just need to be prepared for things that you didn't have to prepare for before. You may have to get a couple players hurt and have to replace them any given week, but now who knows? Especially with something like COVID, a lot of people can be affected by one person. So you need to be prepared early and often about the things that may happen. So I agree that they should probably extend the rosters. I don't know if it will be 90 because 90 you're just basically giving everybody a job,
Yeah.
and you still have to pay these people too.
Right.
So that becomes a thing. But I think 75, like you said, 75, 80, that'd be a good area to have enough players, enough backups to your backups.
Yeah, you keep I don't think all of them will be around like the main people who play, but you keep your emergency guys there. So just in case, like you said, somebody does get COVID, you don't have to worry about putting somebody through a workout to see how they could do and what they could do. You already has a guy who's been on your team, getting work in, making sure even when he's not around the team, he know he has a job and could never know when he get called up. So he's going to stay on his toes and make sure he's working out. So I think that's probably why you expand to like a 70, 75 players. You don't keep them all around the course because that's the whole point of COVID is trying to
separate them.
Yeah, separating things like that. But you got your guys there just in case any unfortunate situation happen, and they already know how the team's going, how the playbook's going, and stuff like that. So keep them around for emergency players. But we'll see how it go. That's just our suggestion here, but we'll see.
Okay. All right. Well, we about to go to a quick break. We gotta go to a break real quick. We'll be back with the Miles Garrett contract.
Hot.
All right. We back. We
just
back.
like the oven.
We back and we about to talk about Myles Garrett
I
and
got
his.
haters out there commenting on my braids in my group chat text.
That's,
Yeah.
that's wild.
He's got the baby braids. He can get there. But come in the club. Shake
Jesus
him
Christ had dreads, so shake them.
Hey, hey,
Feel me?
Heads.
hey. All right, so we're gonna talk about Myles Garrett signing his 5-year, 125 million contract extension with the Browns. You want to take that over, T?
Money, 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 money. Money. I love it, bro. I mean, that's what you do. That finally, we get to sign a first round pick to a second contract. That is the beauty of this. And never mind the fact that he's worth it. It's not like we're just throwing money at somebody. Maybe he can be good. Now, this dude's already good. This dude is great. This dude can be one of the best ever if everything adds up the right way and he does what he does and does what he needs to do. But I think that's why you draft premium talent. Like you're going to pay for premium talent. So whatever the cost, I mean, obviously it's a negotiation, so you got to have a money spot where you draw the line at. Absolutely. Again, ask Dak Prescott how that goes. Negotiations are negotiations for a reason. But with a guy like Myles Garrett, if he's going to what he's going to agree to, that's what you're going to sign him up to because
Right.
he's still not hit his prime yet. And that's the thing. When you usually do these contracts, you're paying a little bit about for what you've done for me, but you're paying a lot for what you're going to do for me, especially with the cap going up. It's smart to sign your guys now because the contracts may look crazy, astronomical at this point. You think, well, you giving one guy $100 million guaranteed. Well, that would suck if it was all in 1 year, but it's not. So you're able to sign him. Still have enough room to sign your Chubbs, your Denzel Wards. If Baker demands another contract, you have the money to sign him, and then you worry about everything else.
So you saying this doesn't eat on their cap space?
Not really. They had so much to begin with. That's why they were still in talks about getting other talent, Jadeveon Clowney, just to be able to and still be able to get Ngakoue too, because you're going to have to give him another contract if you trade for him. So it was more so they have the wherewithal to be able to pay guys. Especially this is the time to do it because you have a rookie quarterback. Once you started paying guys, then you're going to have to start losing guys. Right now, you can keep everybody on your team pretty much because you don't have to pay nobody at this point but Myles Garrett and the guys that you brought in, the Jarvis Landrys, the Beckhams, the Vernons, all those guys, the Shutter Richardsons, you have to pay them. But Baker Mayfield is making pennies on the dollar from what he could make for a premium quarterback if he shows that he can be that. Nick Chubb's not making what he's worth yet. Denzel Ward's not making what he's worth yet.
Nick Chubb have another season like that, a holdout coming.
Oh yeah, I can see that because the running back situation is tricky.
Yeah.
They're just put that out there. The running backs are never going to get paid what they're worth
ever
at all, just because of the position that they play and the toll that it takes on their body, and you have more of a negotiation thing with that because not Travis Henry, Derrick Henry just signed yesterday, and I think he got $25 million guaranteed.
Yeah, he did.
That's 1 year of Myles Garrett money for possibly the best rusher in the NFL. So I can see Nick Chubb. It's going to me. It's going to be kind of the same situation as Kareem Hunt. He may hold out, absolutely, but I think what Kareem Hunt had to see too is, and I know his situation was a little bit different. The situation, but at the end of the day, I don't think he was going to get a lot of looks anyway for big time money. Kareem Hunt's still a big time running back, so I think that's why you have a guy like that, so you can be able to kind of, if Chubb has to sit it down, we have somebody that we can kind of pay a little bit. And he'll be able to do things for me. One of these guys will take the money. It's kind of be like the Antonio Brown, Mike Wallace situation.
Yeah.
I could see that kind of transpiring. Hope it works better for the Browns, but it's just it's just one of them situations. But this is a long way of saying smart by paying to pay Myles Garrett. That's the money move. That's the move they had to make. I'm happy they made it.
Okay. All right. What about you, Coach?
Yeah, I have to agree with him. Like you said, usually the Browns don't sign their first round picks to contract extension. So this tells you something good. He's a top, depending on how you want to judge him, top 5, top 6 pass rusher in the league. Great talent.
Yeah, he's definitely third best in the division in my eyes.
Third best in the division at what?
Pass rushing.
He might be first.
I'll at least give him second.
Who first?
Calais Campbell. I'll
As
put
pure
Calais.
pass rusher.
Yeah, I'll put Calais over him.
I'm not mad at you because you know I'm here. You 2 for 2 with Calais for me. He hit Miami boy and hit Raven, so you
Right,
two
right.
for two. But I think just off pure pass rushing, I probably would give the edge just to Miles Garrett,
Yeah, I mean,
just
like he
off pure
got the.
pass
I feel
rushing.
like he got the talent, and
Yeah,
give him a year or two, he'll be better than Calais. But right now,
I get what you're saying
yeah,
because you got somebody like T.J. Watt in the division as well too, who
right.
can get after the quarterback who's proven his. But I think last year if Garrett didn't have that unfortunate situation, which if Bro said what he said, he definitely deserved to get cracked at the helmet. So if Garrett did that for that reason, I'm not even going
Right.
be mad at that. But I think Garrett's numbers would have been all there last year if he wouldn't sat out. But great talent, only could build for the future. And like T was saying, while your quarterback's on a rookie contract, these are the things you got to do. You got to try to build everything around him and make sure that's taken care of, and go from there. He got $100 million guaranteed. He got $50 million guaranteed at signing. So I know that could change my move for the day. I get $50 million at the signing of my contract. I don't even care about the rest. Nah, I'm lying. I still need the rest. But that was good for the Browns. We'll see what they do. Uh, and just go forward from there, man. Let's see. Let's see what Cleveland gonna do because there's no more, like we said, the talent is all there, man. There's no more excuses
Yeah,
they
no
can
more
really use.
excuses. Yeah. My only thing looking at this contract is just that he slightly has a growing reputation as dirty, especially after the Mason Rudolph situation, and you don't know what Mason said to cause that, so everyone kind of put that blame on him. So some people do kind of look at him as dirty, and then I just hope like the community that they build around him, because he seems like he's about to be the star, definitely on defense, will be something. Because with this growing reputation, it could be like how the Bengals were, like back in 2015 with Vontez and
Yeah,
Pac-Man and all them.
yeah. I know. I get what you're saying, but
He
I
does.
think it was just that one incident with him. You
Right.
ain't really never heard nothing about.
I mean, the most I heard is just maybe something on the line, like maybe like stepping on somebody.
That's gonna happen.
Yeah,
I
right.
want my
That's
DNs to
gonna
be
happen.
nasty. Like I
Yeah,
don't want
I
my
don't want no
DNs to be
nice guy.
nice. I mean, you're going to hit the quarterback. I
Yeah.
want you to be mean. This dude does poetry and freaking
He's
painting.
into
Like
dinosaurs and stuff
there's
like
not
that.
there's not a
He's a
bad
different.
dude
If you
like
look
that.
at Miles Garrett off the field,
Right.
he's a different dude.
Yeah.
It's not you're not there's never a bad dude that does painting and poetry. I've never met one.
Well, I mean, like Vontez wasn't that bad off the field, but on the field, he had a different personality.
Yeah, I
And
mean, but that list is way longer than
yeah,
Miles Garrett.
way longer. Yeah.
And Miles Garrett, I mean, I'm not going to knock him too much. I mean, because again, I come from a place that you run up, you get done up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that's just he may not even be up at that mindset, or he may not have came from that. I can't really speak too much of his upbringing. But I know if somebody's running at me, especially he's coming after my legs. Like I'm not thinking clearly. You don't have enough time to say, oh well, I could just uppercut this dude.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like you're just thinking that I'm going to defend myself the best way possible. It's on tape. It's just that he just so happens to be a very large urban dude. So it's more of a bullseye on you because of what your stature looks like. I will
Yeah.
guarantee you, if the roles were switched around and it was Mason Rudolph hitting him in the head with a helmet, it'd be looked at dramatically different.
Yeah.
already know.
They wouldn't be talking about him being dirty.
Not
Like
at
that.
all. Not at all. So I'm not going to let the double standard that society wants to bring out and the world wants you to look at and say, well, he's a bad guy because of that. Whatever happens on the field happens on the field. Penalties happen. At some point in time, he's going to get an unnecessary roughness. I've seen a dude get an unnecessary roughness for pretty much hitting the guy too hard.
Right.
This is the new NFL. You can't do that. Is he a dirty player because he's that big and he hit a guy hard?
Right.
No. It's just that's what you do sometimes. It's a 15-yard penalty. You're off. You're out. We run another play, first down. In that situation, you just crack the dude upside the head. It is what it is. It does not probably never happen again. He learned his lesson. He got portrayed as a thug.
Yeah,
I call Miles Garrett a lot of things. A thug was not one of them. So it's just I'm not going to just allow him to be unfairly judged, and that's just my thing. What he does on the field is what he does on the field. Sometimes things happen, but there's a lot. You look at them pals. I mean, dudes get their junk grabbed up under them pals,
Right. Like,
kicked and spit on and stuff like that.
people already said a lot of things happen in them.
A lot of things happen.
You just don't see it, So it's I'm not gonna knock him. You do what you do, and the next time somebody run up on you, you got a hammer on their head in your hand, crack them again.
Okay, so Speaking on another troublesome AFC North player, let's talk about Antonio Brown possibly fitting on the Ravens. You want to take that, Coach?
Uh, yeah, man. So it's been you've heard a couple rumors out here hearing about Antonio Brown coming to Baltimore. It started when the little clips of him, Lamar, and Hollywood working out made his way around the internet. It would be a great fit. You can't deny his talent. We got his little cousin on the team in Hollywood Brown, so they would be a great 1-2 combination.
Right.
We're an organization who can handle it. Like we're not just an organization he's gonna sign with and things are not ran good from top to bottom. Like he knows he's gonna have to follow some guidelines if he were to come to Baltimore. I mean, AB well on the field, man, you can't deny
Yeah, you can't deny his
Antonio
talent.
Brown. During his time span, he was probably the best receiver for a couple years. It was real debatable with him and Julio. My dog Yak he gonna argue to death with you. It's toe tap Tony. So if you was to get AB and bring him into Baltimore with what we already have on offense with Lamar, with Mark Ingram, J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards, Mark Andrews, Nick Boyles, Hollywood, Willie Snead. I mean, he would only take the offense over the top. But it's just about are we gonna get him?
Okay.
Are we gonna take that risk and dealing with all the off-field drama that comes with him? I think it's a real shot we could, but I'm starting to get a really, really gut feeling he could end up in Seattle. You see him and Russell Wilson together a lot. There's been a lot of talks about it. He's actually, what I've been watching on Russell Wilson's YouTube, he's actually been at Russell Wilson's house working out with him and the receivers. And that's one thing you could never deny with AB, even with his stuff in Pittsburgh, the little incident in Oakland, which that was mayhem, of course. And even with his time span in New England, one game you see he scored touchdowns. You can never question his work ethic, his talent, or anything like that. You know what you're getting as a football player. It just has he. I know it sounds crazy to say this about somebody older than me. No, it's not because I say it all the time. But have they matured yet?
Right.
Has he grew from all the things off the field and things like that? And that's what you got to worry about with AB. Now he think he's a rapper. So is he really focused on football still? Like, do he want to put the rapping to the side? Is that something he was just doing to get
Yeah.
attention while he wasn't in the game to try to keep his mind off things? But I think if we could get, it's anybody, not just us, but of course, I would love for him to be in Baltimore because one, he would kill Pittsburgh every chance he get. That's you wouldn't even have to worry about that. He probably would try to kill every team he gets
Right.
his lineup against, but Pittsburgh
Most
will
def.
be the most def team he would kill, and he would get to see them twice a year. But any team, which I really think is only out of Baltimore and Seattle, the team that will take the chances on him, because Seattle they have that history of taking the players with that trouble pass or off the field incidents. Hey, we need you here to play football. We're not worried about everything else. We could work on that, but we know what we're getting for you as a football player. And us in Seattle are two franchises that don't mind taking that chance on a player.
I mean, if you speak on it like that, the Bengals could take him. I mean, I don't know if they would, because they have a pass like that too.
Yeah, but he
But
ain't going to the
yeah,
Bengals.
he not going.
He want to go somewhere where he could compete.
Yeah,
You feel me? And the
definitely.
Bengals,
So
even though the young talent's there, who knows are they ready to
right.
compete
So
immediately?
speaking on that, you think Tampa Bay would take him? Like Tom Brady could convince?
Nah, I think they already got too much there. They already got Mike Evans and Goodwin. Them are two receivers that both had over 100 catches, so they're both gonna need the ball.
All right.
They still got OJ Howard on the roster. One is that they still got Cameron Braid on the roster. Them are two tight ends. Then they go at Gronk, who we know Brady's going to throw him the ball. If nobody else is open and Brady don't know what to do with the ball,
He gonna throw it to Gronk.
it's going to go to Gronk.
Right.
No matter how good Mike Evans playing, no matter how good Godwin playing or anything like that. So I don't think the Patriots be a team that Tampa Bay. Sorry about that. I don't think they'll be a team that go after him either.
Right.
I really think it's only these two teams, Baltimore and Seattle, of course.
So where would he exactly fit on Baltimore? Like in the slot?
Nah, he gonna come. He would play outside, but AB could play anywhere. If you watched him throughout his career, it don't matter where he lined up. He gonna route you. He gonna get open. He gonna make the contested catches. He's one of them. he's a go-to guy. So no
Right.
matter where he goes, he's going to become the go-to
So
guy.
he gonna be the number one and Hollywood number two, or
It would
Hollywood number
be
one.
it would be his moments,
Right.
but like AB's already established what he does in the league. You know what defensive coordinators fear what AB can do because they already know what he can do. You feel
Right.
me? Hollywood is still off the
Yeah.
expectation.
Like
And
this
don't
is
get me
second
wrong,
year,
last year he had 600 yards his rookie year. 600 yards, 7 touchdowns. Great season. When we know the speed, but like he hasn't really put the fear into defensive coordinators the way AB has. AB will literally, you'll have to double team him all game, and he's still gonna get his 8 to 10 catches because that's what he do. So anywhere he goes, I think he's going to be the go-to guy. Even if he goes to Seattle, he would take some time, but I think with he wouldn't have to be. But I think his talents and things will make him the go-to guy because they have Tyler Lockett, they have Metcalf, who they loved last year, who played great for him in the playoffs. So anywhere AB goes, he's make the offense that much better and the team that much better because he's Antonio Brown. We know what he is as a football player.
Okay. So what you think on it, T?
If he takes away the Hulk Hogan mustache and gets his focus again, I mean, for real, that's what I knew. He lost his marbles. Like, but come on, man. Like, then the rapping, I got the rapping. That's how it happened. It all just went amok, and it's sad because the talent is there. Like, and we're used to wide receivers being divas. We're used to wide receivers being a little, quirky.
Mm-hmm.
But he went extra with it. He went the money bag yo route and was doing too much. Like, bro, you have to chill and play football because at your best, come on, man.
Monster
Come
on the
on.
field. Yeah.
I mean, come on. There's legitimately no stopping him.
No.
And it's not like he's just some athletic beast or anything like that, like a Julio. He's not a super freaking fast dude.
Yeah,
Not
like,
a 14.
he's tall. He's not strong. He's not like DK. Nothing.
He's a football player.
Right.
And it seems like that's what he got lost in the sauce at, is he forgot that he was a football player.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what began his downfall. And that's ultimately going to be where whoever ends up with him, you're going to either benefit from it or take the L on it. Because the Raiders thought they were getting Antonio Brown. You were getting Antonio Brown for a steal, a third and a fifth rounder. Come on, man. You can't beat that. But he didn't play one down for him, but you still lose that third and that fifth rounder. Mm-hmm. So, if it's low risk, and it's sad to say that because Antonio Brown can still be getting his check. He can still be getting to his bag. But we're in a situation now where you're taking a flyer on a guy like that. Yeah. And that's sad because a couple years ago, there was no such thing as taking a flyer on Antonio Brown. You were signing that man. You were giving him his money, and you were going to get your 120 catches, and you were going to have you a ball player. Yeah. But now it's just we have to find out everything. And I've seen him kind of do a little bit of public relation things. He's been working with Dion a little bit, like you said, Russell Wilson. If you want people to look at you favorably, I mean, those are two guys that you want to kind of,
especially Russell Wilson.
Exactly. So you want to attach yourself to these guys, but like Coach said, that may be the difference between him being a Raven and him being a Seahawk. Yeah. You never know how he looks at his cousin. Maybe I want him to get the shine. If I'm Antonio Brown, I know that if I go to the Ravens, I'm probably gonna take some away from him. So maybe I want to be far away. That's where Seattle is. I'm not sure if they play each other this year, but that's far away from him. Yeah. That's able to do your thing. He's able to do his thing. And that's how things work out. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I think, get back to your original question, if he does end up in Baltimore or if he ends up in Seattle, if you get Antonio Brown when he's right, man, you got you scary. If you get him when he's wrong,
even when he wrong, look at him for the Patriots though. Even when he was wrong, he still scored 2 touchdowns.
That's
now,
true.
I wonder. I'm never going to accuse no woman of lying, but we haven't heard nothing about the whole woman thing and the reason he got cut from this Patriots since that incident happened. Because who knows if he wouldn't have finished on New England? Because I think New England, that's the whole reason they got rid of him. They got word that she was about to drop that report. And they cut him before it happened because you see, boom, they cut him 2 hours later. The report came, so they had some bug in their ear. But I wonder if that news when it came out, would he ever have stayed in New England?
Yeah, he probably would have. New England probably could have made that Super Bowl if he stayed.
Man, that would have been scary.
I think it was a trial run for Antonio Brown either way. Yeah. I think he kind of knew that Tom Brady was going to leave. And it was just let me just have 1 year with Tom Brady.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean,
but
especially when you're Antonio Brown. I mean,
I
Tom
mean,
Brady.
if he had that year with Tom Brady and Tom was gonna leave, Tom would have probably took
But
him with
even
him.
if
Yeah, definitely.
if they add AB, Tom Brady don't leave.
That's good. That's
I,
another good question.
I would say he still would just because AB would he signed a 1 year. So if Tom Brady wants to
Yeah.
leave and you know you can bring AB with you, now I will say this:
Now
he
I
may
thought
not
AB
be
did 2 years with him.
no, it would have been one. It was I think it was it
Okay.
might have been a 2 year contract, but 9 million was guaranteed.
Okay.
One.
Yeah,
So
I remember that. I do remember that because everybody was shocked he got that much money from the Patriots.
it was one of them contracts that looks like receiving contract.
Okay, yeah.
So I think that he probably would have spent that 1 year with Tom Brady, and then Tom Brady's options would have came up, and that might have been a package deal kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't think that Tampa may not have gotten Tom Brady. They may still have, but they may not have gotten him depending on. And I'm thinking of if Antonio Brown's at his best. That means the money has to come with it too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So him and Tom Brady might have been connected some type of way to go to a team with cap space that would be able to take care of both of them. Tampa Bay had enough cap space to take
handle
Tom
both
Brady.
of them.
You know what I'm saying? But now when Antonio Brown's at his lowest, you can probably get him for a steal.
Yeah.
I just honestly believe, I mean, no matter what it is, as long as he can keep his focus on the field, do whatever you need to do outside of football. There's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You only play football for so long. But find something better to do with your time constructively. If you're going to be doing too much, just don't do it. Or keep the camera out of your face.
Yeah, that's another thing. Like, keep it off the internet.
And he was one of those guys that were infamous for doing that. Like, bro, every time you're doing something like silly, you
got the phone in
you're
your
paying
hand.
somebody. Or you have your phone in your hand. Like, you're doing a lot of look at me things. And then when people look at you, it's, why are you looking at me like that? Bruh. That's because you're telling people to look at you.
You giving them that perception.
That's what he did. And it's to the point that we're here in mid-July, and we're saying, well, who will take a flyer on Antonio Brown? And it's your fault. It's nobody else's fault. It's not my fault, not your fault, not coach's fault, not nobody in the NFL's fault. Nobody's fault but his, why he's looked at the way that he's looked at. So you need to rehabilitate your image first, and then you need to be on the team and see if it works out. Seattle, they'll take a flyer on you. They did it with Josh Gordon.
Mm-hmm.
They benefit from it until it hit the fan for him. But they've been known to take on cases, and that's what having a strong locker room will do for you. That's what having a strong culture does. That's why you're looking at Seattle and Baltimore as being two teams for him, because they have all of that in the bag of chips.
Yeah.
Okay, so thinking that he fixes everything, he rehabilitates himself, he comes back with a different image, comes back ready to play. Like asking coach, what do you think if he's on Seattle or the Ravens? What do you think he's gonna be?
On a playoff contender team,
right?
With a chance to win a championship and probably 100 catches, at least. I mean, because the boy can ball when it comes to him being on the field. You just got to get him on the field.
But I mean, like with the Ravens, they got Hollywood, and then they got Willie. They got them, and then they got on the Seahawks. They got DK, and they got Lockett.
If he's saying he's gonna get 100 catches and stuff like that, that means he think he'll be the number
He'll
one.
be number one.
No matter where he goes, he's the number one.
Yeah.
I don't care if you go to freaking, you come to Cleveland, number one.
Except if he goes somewhere like Atlanta or something.
Okay. So you think Atlanta, he'll be second behind?
He would, yeah.
That's, to me, it's a 1A.
Or like New Orleans or something.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
It's just.
But if you get AB on the field, you get AB on the field.
All right. Okay.
I hope you got yours. I keep mine. That's him. You feel me? Like, it's coming to him, and he's going to catch it if he's together.
Okay. Well, since we spoke on that, ex-Pittsburgh Steelers, let's talk. God dang, I can't even talk.
Yeah, man. Nervous?
Nah, man. I'm looking at these headlines. That's just it. Okay, so since we talked on him,
he got wing sauce on his lips.
Let's speak on Big Ben.
He was a moist towelette, man.
That's crazy.
I'm interested to see. Oh, you got it too.
Yeah, you got it too. I mean, one of y'all could take it over.
Pigpen, Big Ben. Like I said on last week's show, he can't stay healthy even in his prime years. So, it's far-fetched to look at him and say, well, he's going to play another 16 games and he's going to be the Big Ben that he is always. It's the same things as Antonio Brown, except Antonio Brown is mostly mental. Big Ben is physical. And not only that, he's been banged up and he's always, you can't really count on you play all 16 games.
All right.
And the older you get, the more wear and tear that takes on your body. Who's to say that his injuries last year couldn't have been a 4 or 5 week kind of thing?
Yeah.
Well, I
But-
mean, the way he's talking that he's confessing on porn addiction, booze and addiction, all that. He's saying that's fuel for his comeback.
So is that why his
Say
arm was
what?
so
Yeah, I'm literally looking at a headline that says Ben Roethlisberger's confession of porn, booze addiction as fuel for epic 2020 comeback.
I mean, is that what he's
What
doing? to get
website you on?
Bro, I am on Pin Live.
You on what?
Pin Live. It's out of Pittsburgh.
That sounds like one of those sites that
It's a Pittsburgh PA website. That's what they reporting. Out of Pennsylvania.
Well,
That's interesting.
I mean,
I didn't know about the porn part, but I knew he had an addiction with booze.
I know about him. His cases in the past that we won't touch on that everybody try to let him slide about. But
I mean, he touched on something. He
yeah,
definitely touched on something.
that's what he do.
Right.
But I mean, whatever floats your boat. I'm again a person that less cares about words.
Right.
Talk whatever it was that you were going through, dealing with. I do not care what happens on Thursday, Saturday, or Sunday. That's what I care about. We all have problems. We all have things that we have to figure out. We all have things that we need to do. What are you doing when it's game time? And for Big Ben, I don't see him coming in and doing nothing but putting Pittsburgh out of a situation where they can get a top tier quarterback. That's where I see Big Ben at. I mean, at their best this year, I can see him at maybe a 9-7. Juju has to do some things. I don't think
He
that
has to step it up.
You wanted Antonio Brown gone, so you could show that you can do what you needed to do.
But I mean, don't they need a number 2? Like, I don't know who their number 2 receiver is.
But when you become that it's different when he become the number one guy on the game plan.
But I mean, like,
it was easier for him. Anybody could get open when AB beside you.
Yeah,
that's what he's saying. He need to step it up.
I know he got to step it up. But at the same time, you got to think on like just having that 1-2 punch. Like, if I got a number 2 that's just
that's not. Name me number 2 receiver from the Saints. My point is actually name me number 2 receiver from the Texans.
Well, I mean, like, they got rid of their number 1.
But when they had D Hop,
I mean, yeah, that's a good point.
Think how many years Larry Fitz held it down with no sidekick. Think how many years Andre Johnson held it down with no sidekick. Think how many years Steve Smith held it down with no sidekick.
Okay, that's a good point.
So when you become that number 1 guy, you're supposed to be the number 1 guy regardless.
Right.
Look how many years AB held it down without no sidekick when they thought they were bringing all them guys in to be his sidekick.
Okay.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's different when you on the game plan and you the number 1 receiver. You guys, Stephon Gilmore on you,
Right.
Jalen Ramsey on you, Tre'Davious White on you.
Okay.
Yeah, it's different when they not on AB.
Yeah.
And you getting open versus Eli Apple.
Okay.
And guys like that. Like, it's different when you become the game plan. It's different when Marlon Humphrey on you and not AB.
All right.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So he has to step it up.
Yeah.
And that's
it's not no excuse about he needs a number 2 receiver beside him.
I'm just saying, like,
that's a terrible excuse when you're supposed to be the number 1 guy.
It's not an excuse. He does have to step it up, but I'm just saying that number 2 helps.
It does.
Helps.
It definitely does help.
Because AJ held it down when he was by himself, but getting Tyler Boyd, that definitely helped. That opened it up for him.
That opened it up,
No,
but I think AJ opens up.
That opens up the stuff for them. That's what you're confusing.
I mean, yeah, there's
that
still
number 1 receiver opens up.
Yeah, they're still gonna get
everything
double team. There's still gonna be safety help on that number 1, but like it still can open up.
Well, that's the.
But think of what you said. It's 11 guys on defense and 2 guys just focus on 1 player.
That's the difference with Juju. Is like Antonio will get off the press,
see your point.
and then that safety that's coming down to also get him a little love. He's beating him too.
Right.
Juju may be able to get past the press, but that safety coming down, you're not doing nothing with him. So now that's an incompletion instead of a 30-yard gain. Now, when you on the other end of that spectrum and Antonio Brown's not on one side, that is, like you said, Stephon Gilmore's on you. It's a lot different when you're on another team's number 2 or number 3 than when you're dealing with the number 1 guy, because you're not getting all that help. You're not getting all that one-on-one action. You're getting double teamed now. So when your quarterback's coming off of, an injury, and then this is the time that he took apparently to find himself one way or another. Is his head on right?
Right.
I don't think that's talked about as much, And again, we're not stupid. It all comes down to who you are and the public's perception of you. There's a reason why Big Ben has had his problems and it gets swept under the rug, but Antonio Brown's problems are on the big stage all the time. Now, part of it is his own doing, But what Big Ben is doing right now, he's looking for the sympathy stuff. Oh,
Yeah,
I'm an old
yeah,
quarterback.
confessing and all that.
I'm hurt. I'm
Everybody trying to
coming
hear that.
back. I've had my own problem. Bro, you're almost 40 years old, or if not 40 years old already.
He's 38.
38. Figure it out.
Right.
I'm not about to award you, give you a round of applause for doing what you're supposed to do. That's what the off season is about. I don't care about none of that. What are you doing on Thursdays, Saturdays, or Sundays? That's what I care about. How are you doing when the ball is kicked off? And going to that question, I don't see Big Ben coming back and becoming Big Ben again. I see Big Ben coming back, and it might be Tommy Maddox for all we know. I don't see him being the difference anymore. Like you need another quarterback in Pittsburgh. Rather it's this year, next year, or the year after that, you're going to need another quarterback in Pittsburgh. It's not going to be Big Ben. If the Steelers do well, he's going to have his part in it, but I think it's more so going to be from that defense and that running game.
So
It's not going to be Ben.
you definitely thinking this is last year?
I think it's you're getting close. It may not be just because keep cashing them checks.
Right.
You know what I mean? Pittsburgh doesn't look like a place that's going to retire Big Ben, and we've seen even with the Tom Brady situation, Phillip Rivers too. It's no guarantee that you stay there your whole entire time either. Big Ben might find himself in a situation 2 years after Tom Brady leaves and he steps up in Tampa Bay. You never know. So I'm not ruling none of that out, but I just think Big Ben's at the back nine of his career. So I'm not putting a lot of stock in what he's bringing to the table.
Okay. So what about you, Coach?
I'm kind of I feel where T coming from, but I'm kind of a little opposite because I think last year the Steelers were almost a playoff team with Mason Rudolph and Doug
Right.
Hodges as their quarterback. So I think if they get into the playoffs or anything like that, it will be because of Big Ben. Last year, a couple of them guys, their quarterbacks didn't come to play, couldn't make the throws, couldn't just do the bare minimum stuff that you expect an NFL quarterback to do. And like you said, Big Ben's not always healthy, but when he's out there, that's another guy you're getting a football player. You don't never got to worry about that or anything if he lines up on the field. So I think if the Steelers, it mainly will be because of that defense is very good in my opinion. But I think if they do make the playoffs, it will be on Big Ben because they were on the bubble last year, literally one game on the bubble without you. So are you going to be that one to take us over the hump? But if not, like T said, this may be time for a new quarterback to start looking for in Pittsburgh.
All right. So I'm looking at all this. I'm reading some of what he said. They mentioned him being criminally charged back in 2010, and he got suspended. I'm in the same mind with y'all. I don't know. Coming off that injury, he gonna be the same. He could still go out there and give you enough. And if Juju is being that number one receiver, they gonna be a threat. They were a threat last year, and they went 8-8. So I don't know if it's gonna be the same for him. Well, it definitely won't be the same for him. But I don't know who you gonna replace him with.
At this point, I mean, you have to live.
Colin Kaepernick.
Oh yeah.
You think they're gonna sign Colin?
Nah, they won't. But there you go, right there, because he's better than them other two quarterbacks I just named on their roster.
Well, I mean, they got JT also on their roster. I'm just
Are we
saying.
talking about college or NFL? Because what snap has he took in the NFL?
He took some as a Saint, didn't he?
Who's that?
No.
You sure about that?
I'm positive.
JT Barrett? No way.
I could have sworn JT took.
Are we talking preseason?
Maybe I am talking preseason.
Yeah, you might be talking. He maybe got him a little rep in the preseason.
I feel more.
You just named JT Barrett as a quarterback threat on their roster.
I didn't say he was a threat. I'm just saying.
You said they got JT.
I'm just saying if they gonna replace him with someone,
it ain't JT Barrett, dog.
Man, listen, I have.
You think they're gonna go in that draft and draft a quarterback?
They're gonna have to.
They should.
It ain't JT Barrett.
Like I really do feel confident more that I'll see you on the NFL field before I see JT Barrett.
No, don't get carried away like that.
I'm getting that carried away. I don't see that.
Who see me on the?
I will see you on the football field before I see JT Barrett on.
Not as a quarterback.
I guarantee you. I will guarantee it. But no, I mean I personally think the last couple years that they should have actually tried to find a replacement.
They thought it was Mason Rudolph,
and they kind of did, but I think that the fourth round ain't where you go with it. I think that they should have went closer into.
Now they drafted him in third. He was a third. If you third and fourth round, you still expecting something because that's still especially third. You're a top 100 player in that draft. fourth round pick, you're a top 120. Then the fifth round, sixth round, that's when you like, well, they draft them there. I always look, if you're drafted within them first 120 players, you better be able to do something. You getting looked at as like with some pressure on you.
Oh, for sure.
Because it's a lot of players. So with Mason Rudolph to be drafted mid third round, that tells you he was picked somewhere between 70-ish and 90s.
I think he was picked in the hundreds. I'm about to check.
Yeah, check. I think he's a third round pick, T.
I
Now,
mean,
don't
may
keep
still
up
be
with the
one.
Steelers,
It
but
might be a compensatory one.
yeah.
I'm gonna double check.
But yeah, like I think they drafted because they drafted him and got rid of Dobbs.
That's what
They
I
thought.
wouldn't.
They thought Mason Rudolph was going to be the guy to.
You're right.
Yeah,
76.
76. Yeah, that's a high pick.
That's a very high
That's
pick.
a very high pick. It was expectations on you when you came in, bro.
See, and that's my thing. Like, I think they need to get. They should have went after a premium guy somewhere.
But
Like,
are they? You got to think they traded as a Steelers organization. How they think they traded up to get their defensive guy in Devin Bush. They didn't. They don't. They looking at it as we still got a quarterback right now. Why are we going to trade up and get that? Waste that high of a pick on a guy who's not going to play. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
Like,
get. I get their
I don't
level.
think they wanted to trade up. I don't think they wanted to do what the Chiefs did. How the Chiefs traded up and was perfectly comfortable with sitting Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
The Chiefs were perfectly comfortable with that. I don't think the Steelers were looking at it that way. They was as if we gonna trade up, we got to trade up to get somebody who can be playing right now.
I understand that, and to me, that's why we're talking about their quarterback needs and needing a long-term answer instead of their linebacker. We're not saying no word about their linebacker.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Or their defense or nothing like that. We're talking about their quarterback.
Their defense is set.
Yeah, absolutely, because they make moves like that to get a Devin Bush, stuff. But I think if you're gonna, because I thought that even then, when they traded up for Devin Bush, I'm thinking they're trading up for some because when you pay that premium, you got to get you a quarterback or something like that. I can't remember who was there or.
I kind of knew they was gonna get Devin Bush because think how that defense fell off once Shazier got injured.
I get that. But
is he ever coming back?
I doubt he ever come back. Now I do. Shout out to the Steelers for still like paying him, keeping him around and stuff like that. I do respect them for that. But as a foot, he said he wants to come back, but I don't think he's ever gonna come back.
Nah, because time goes on, and as the years progress, your career is getting shorter and shorter to the point that it's not even gonna be worth taking a flight
at all.
And it's your safety has to matter first too. But I mean, I to end it all, I mean, I think that. At the end of the day, the Steelers are the Steelers. They do what they need to do, and they've been successful at doing what they need to do. But I think at some point, some things need to change, and one of those things that need to change for them is to go after somebody in the top 10, especially in the last couple of years where they've kind of been in that cusp. Especially if you can trade for a Devin Bush, and then you can make a trade for a Minka Fitzpatrick. You know what I'm saying? At some point, like you just keep adding to your strengths, but having no long-term answer at that quarterback position. So if they have another me, and that's why I said that Big Ben kind of puts them out of the spot for getting another top tier guy, because I see him picking at like 15 or 17. And not wanting to move up now because they felt like they gave up 2 first rounds.
I think if that happens again, like they do pick around there, I think this will be a year they'd be like, all right,
let's go get a quarterback.
Yeah, let's go get a quarterback.
So who they gonna get out the draft?
I would say if you do that, this is a good year to get one because you may have somebody coming to you at that spot. I can't speak on it now because one, we don't know what season, if we're going to have a season. Right. I don't know how this thing is going to work out anyway. If they don't have a college season, what does that do with the eligibility of the players that would have been eligible? Will we end up in a situation so far down the road that we're going to have 2 back-to-back drafts? Like, who knows that? Now, that's probably thinking way further down the line and worst case scenario, but we don't know. So I just think at some point you just have to get your guy, especially I'm big on once you have your quarterback, everything else can kind of fall into play. Right. Big reason why the Steelers were able to be what they were was because of having a Big Ben, for knowing, and I think he got drafted in 2004. This is 20, so 16 years of having the same guy doing the same things every year. We can do whatever. Mm-hmm. We've revamped that team. When he first came there, it was a run-first organization. Yeah. Run-first defense.
Run.
Then they ended up being,
they had Jerome Bettis when he came there.
Absolutely. Oh, Fast Willie Parker.
Yeah, they had Willie Parker.
Then they ended up being the triple Bs, you know what I'm saying? Where they was able to, put points in bunches and their defense was still good enough. And, in doing all that, now they're kind of getting back into that run game defensive kind of, mindset. But now they're going to need another quarterback that can be there for 10, 15, 20 years.
I was actually shocked they didn't take a quarterback this year. Like a quarterback,
who would they would?
You know who I really thought they would take? Jalen Hurts.
Really?
I really thought Jalen Hurts.
I mean, I was thinking Jacob Eason. Wasn't he drafted?
Yeah, Jacob Eason. I was really thinking Jalen Hurts was somebody I could really see in a Steelers uniform. You asked about, before we get to the next thing, you asked about a quarterback for them next year. Keep your eye out on Trey Lance. I think Pittsburgh could fall in love with him.
All right. Well, to take it back to that second receiver, somebody said Traquan Smith with the Saints.
Is it Justin McKee who commented that?
Nah, it's Jordan Wood.
Oh, Jordan going with Traquan Smith.
That's UCF, right?
Yeah, he did come from UCF. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not gonna get it done.
Yeah.
That's just not.
Yeah, you see their second leading receiver was like their running back, so that tells you how good their wide receiver number 2 was.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm gonna take us to a break real quick. Then we'll come back and we'll talk positions. All right, we back. We back.
Today?
All right. I misspoke last time going into break. We're not doing the position units. We're gonna do what player.
You tell him next week's show.
Yeah,
Man,
you can't be giving
we
next
throw the
round.
teasers out.
I'm gonna tease at the end. Let me cook, bro. Let me cook.
It's
All right.
Thursday out here.
So right now we about to be doing what player from the past would you bring back to your team? You want to start it off, T?
Yep, Mr. Joe Thomas. Of course, he deserves a winner, man. And I swear to you, if you put Joe Thomas on this team now, we gonna get us a winner. That was probably the thing that hurt me the most about last year and what we were doing. I mean, I'm seeing Beckham come, Landry come, just getting a quarterback, Baker doing with all that coming, and
he done got in shape too, hasn't he?
Too much shape that he can't. He had to play tight end if he came back under this way.
Down.
Like he couldn't. Joe Thomas. I mean, shout out to him because that's what you do. You know, you take that extra because you need that extra weight to play football. But going forward in your life, that extra weight may not have been the best for him. So shout out to him for doing things right, getting himself into shape. But I just think that some people deserve a winner. I mean, obviously you get what you play for. You play for what team you play for. If they suck, they suck. We've sucked his whole entire career. But I would love to see what Joe Thomas would be able to do blocking for this team. He blocked for bums his whole entire career. Let him block for some talent. So that's
a good point right there. I done got a different player in my mind.
Was that easy, like over a Bernie Kosar or Jim Brown and things like that? Was that an easy thought?
It wasn't easy. It was just more so rewarding. Because, I mean, if it wasn't him, it wouldn't have been Jim Brown or it would have been Kosar. It would have been Josh Creed.
Okay, now let me ask you this.
I was thinking on that.
Let me ask you this. You also said come back and play for a winner, right?
Absolutely. I think Joe Thomas on this team just solidified.
Okay.
Because nobody's getting past him.
Well, thinking of bringing a player back
all day.
What about like Josh Gordon? You would have brought him back?
Is there Bud around or not? Because I love Josh Gordon. I always loved Josh Gordon. He's talented, crazy talented. But he just got in his own way too much. And I mean, again, I like to reward good people.
Yeah.
I like to reward, people that did things the right way.
Joe Thomas was definitely that. He deserved it. That was a little shot when I said playing for a winner because I don't know what they won yet, but I see where he was getting at.
Yeah, he was.
I see where he was getting at.
He definitely makes us a winner.
That 6-10 season better than any season Joe Thomas ever got. So I get where.
Well, no, because the first year that's when we I can't remember if it was 10 and 6.
Yeah, didn't make the playoffs.
Didn't make the playoffs. Yeah. But it's more so that
shout out to the tight end on that team, Kellen Winslow.
Again, up man. He need to keep his hands to himself too.
Man, sick how he ended his career.
I don't.
You talk about hurt. I know this off topic, but you talk about hurt. Man, y'all understand Kellen Winslow, man.
But yeah, it was definitely either him or Josh Cribbs, just because I mean they were truly Browns and they were Browns that did it the right way and just team wise, if I would have went Josh Cribbs, it wouldn't have hurt him because we don't have that kick returner, punt returner that's can win you games.
Speaking on tight ends, wasn't Peyton Hillis on y'all team?
He was a fullback.
He was definitely a fullback running back.
Yeah.
He had one good year.
I'm just saying that would have been someone to bring back.
No,
not
no.
That's
get
crazy.
carried away, Ron.
I'll just ask the question.
You watched Madden, didn't you?
I just remember that one good year yet.
That was about it.
That's it.
That's all
he was good in college at Arkansas, though. Right. He played with Felix Jones and Darren McFadden. He was real good in college.
That was a hard Russian squad to stop. Definitely.
Right. So what about you, Coach?
So this was tough. I had my thoughts. I got the like we was just saying. Do I want to go with Jamal Lewis? Since we're a run heavy team the way we are, I'm like, nah. I love Jamal Lewis, but I don't think he the player I'm gonna bring back. And I was tossed up at receiver. We got Anquan Bolden. We got Derek Mason, who's our franchise all-time leading receiver, basically in everything. We had Steve Smith, but I'm like, nah, I ain't gonna do that yet.
Right.
We got Jonathan Ogden, who I definitely thought about bringing back up front. I'm like, Ronnie Stanley played the left tackle. So if this gives you anything, that basically cut down my limits, right? They give me two players who probably the best ever at their position.
Right.
I got to thinking, like, it's a heavy pass game. Could you imagine what Ed Reed would do with all these balls in the air?
So you saying Ed
I
Reed?
definitely got to bring back Ed Reed.
Okay.
That's a scoreboard changer.
See, I was thinking
Like,
Ed Reed.
Could you imagine with how much they pass now?
Right.
Pick. Edward Reed, big six. That's all you would hear. So I gotta bring back Ed Reed, bro. Like as much as it hurts me not to bring back Ray Lewis, but middle linebackers aren't the same as what they once were. You feel me?
Right.
Now, if you got the great middle linebackers, you got the Bobby Wagners, you got the Luke Kuechly before he just retired. You got the linebacker for the Colts. I'm having a brain fart right now. But if you have that good middle linebacker, of course, is great. But the way the game is now, the secondary is a little more important than the front seven.
Right, and then him with Earl Thomas, that's dangerous.
You feel me? And the way Earl Thomas playing, he need to move up to the box anyway. So Go ahead, boom, move him up to the box. And we just play one safety over the top. If you know me, how I used to play Madden when Ed Reed was still on Madden, all I ran was one safety the whole game.
He on Madden 20?
I'm talking like actually like on the game, Rondell, not like somebody you get on alternate team, dude.
I'm just saying you could get those. I'm
I'm just saying when Ed Reed was actually the best player on the game.
Right.
He was a 99. That's what I'm actually saying. Like,
well, I'm just saying you could get decade teams.
It was a cheat code. So like, with all the passing and the way the game played now, I gotta bring back Ed Reed because all I see is pick sixes after pick sixes after pick sixes. That's all I envision with Ed Reed. And I was in a heavy run game. That's when the league was heavy run.
Right.
Like, he still was a scoreboard changer. Like he gets picks and changes scores of the game. Like it's not like a lot of people get picks and you create the turnover. And trust me, I watch Joe Flacco a lot. I've seen us get a lot of turnovers and go have a 3-and-out right after it.
Right.
But Ed Reed, him, Dion, they changed the game when they touched the ball. Like, for example, it's probably like I don't think Ed Reed, and then think Ed Reed, all the block punts he got for touchdowns. He got about 5 of them in his career. He got 2 punt return touchdowns for his career. So I'm bringing back Ed Reed for sure. That's a scoreboard changer.
Okay. I think the Colts linebacker you was looking for was Darius
Leonard.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he's an animal. Literally, he's everywhere on the field.
Okay. Well, I got to thinking because at first I was gonna say Corey Dillon for the Bengals, but y'all made a good point. I got to sit Mixon for that. I don't know if I want to do that. And then you mentioned Joe Thomas for the blocking. I'm thinking, okay, Andrew Whitworth, like he was one of our best blockers out there.
Big Whit, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think he still played for the Rams, right?
Mm-hmm.
But bring him back to the Bengals and give him a different quarterback, different system. He probably, we probably eat with him on the line. Then I was thinking receivers. I'm like, Ocho Cinco, Chad Johnson. It gotta be him. But who am I gonna sit for him?
Anybody? What you mean?
What you mean? I mean, come on, AJ Green.
That ain't
Tyler
the person
Boyd.
you bringing back?
Nah, I don't know. I just don't know. Because then, like you was talking about just giving a winning season, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm like, Pac-Man, like,
can y'all slow down with just this winning season in the Bengals and
if Joe Thomas is
Cleveland organization? Slow down now.
Joe Thomas is on this Cleveland Browns team.
Like,
this team is
you got a little more argument than him, though.
Right.
Bengals,
Joe Thomas will actually help their record.
I mean, like Whitworth would help us. You don't think he'll help our record?
He would.
Yeah.
Winning.
So who you bringing back? If it ain't Chad Johnson, if you don't mind me asking.
I gotta bring back probably Ken Anderson. He I think before Andy Dalton, he was like the most winningest Bengals quarterback. Like he had the best percentage of wins.
So that's who you bringing back.
Maybe, yeah.
You're not bringing back Chad Johnson.
It hurts. It truly hurts. I want to bring back Chad
You
Johnson.
could even say Carson Palmer.
I'm not bringing back Carson. That's enough.
Chad Johnson should have been your easy.
It is easy, but I mean, I'm thinking quarterback right now. I'm thinking someone to
y'all
sit.
Just drafted one, right?
Yeah.
Now I can understand.
You think Burrow is going to?
So you would sit Burrow to
for like
play
a
him
year. For like a year.
But you won't sit no receiver on your team to play Chad Johnson.
You probably got a point. Hold up. I might have to think again.
I can understand the
AJ Green and Chad Johnson.
And think how dynamic that gets. Oh my God! Now you got covered AJ Green and Chad Johnson.
Now I would say that
I should have just stuck with my
you
gut.
bought Kenny Anderson back.
No.
You bought Kenny Anderson back.
Switch,
it's on you, bro.
Switch.
It's on you.
I can understand it from the landscape of if I'm trying to win, I'll bring the winningest quarterback in Cincinnati. Being if that's the truth.
Well, if I'm doing that, I gotta bring Andy back because technically he is.
Now that is
just
more of a head
back.
scratcher.
Just bring back Chad Johnson. Bro.
Yeah,
just keep it simple and bring back Chad Johnson.
I should have went with my gut.
Overthinking it. You overthinking.
I mean, it was T. He was talking about all this with Joe Thomas. I'm like,
because that's what the Browns actually like. It just so happened that be one of their best franchise players ever in a need.
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
But I mean, like we need offensive line. That's why I started thinking Whitworth.
But and then with one of y'all best franchise players ever. That's the difference. Joe Thomas is one of the best players that ever play for the Browns.
I don't think if you would said Anthony Munoz, then it would kind of fit.
I didn't even think of Munoz.
Yeah, like
it's that more fits the Joe Thomas elite left tackle need something that we take to get over the top.
Yeah.
Where I think the Browns and the Bengals are different is I think the Bengals have an ascending talent level that will get there.
Right.
They're more than a year away.
Yeah.
Probably. The Browns are let's get
they got the talent right now. Together. Let's get it together.
Got the skill positions down pat, but the line has been a huge problem. Humongous, and if I can't get the ball out, or if I can't be blocked for, how can I get the ball to my playmakers?
Right.
If I don't have time to do anything, how can I run like that? Nick Chubb should have been way better than he was last year, even though he was dominant for me. But the line was just average. Now, if you put Joe Thomas there, that solidifies your offensive line any year. Right. Up until Joe Thomas was done, he was still a first team All Pro.
Oh yeah. The only reason he wasn't All Pro is because he decided to call it quits.
That's it.
It wasn't him.
Like he's a primetime player in a position that if you put him there, then you're going to me, in my opinion, you're going to get you a winner because your sore spot is done, and he's finally blocking for talent. Joe Thomas ain't never had this much talent in his life.
Right.
So I mean, I just want to, like I said, I want to reward that. Yeah, that's why Chris would have been my other guy and not, somebody different.
Yeah, y'all definitely making sense. So I should have just went with my gut and said Ocho. That's crazy.
No, you bought back Ken Anderson.
No,
so we got Jim Thomas, Avery, and Ken Anderson.
No, we going. no.
Yeah, like that's you bought me back out of all people. Even Ken Anderson questioned that. Like, you bought me back?
Nah,
but yep, that's who you. Nope, you said it, bro. It's stamped. It's stamped. It's stamped, bro. It's stamped. You bought back Ken Anderson. You got your quarterback.
I mean, technically, I said Ocho first. So.
No.
All right. Well, I messed up. I guess I'm just like the Browns. Bengals owner. I'm messing up, brother. All right. Well, that was the show. So
yeah, buddy.
I guess I'm gonna keep the Bengals in the dark. I don't know. Well, just to close it out, anyone got anything last to say?
Great show. Another one down. Love being here. Happy to be here. Make sure to check us out next week, same time, same channel.
Okay. Yeah, check us out next week. Great show. We're gonna keep going forward. And like I said last week, ATS is on the way. Give about a week. By the time next week's show dropping, I'll give y'all all the information on that.
All right. Well, see y'all next week. We're going to be talking about position unit rankings. That's probably going to take the whole show. So
much more.
All right. See y'all.